They've asked other presidents that were running, did they inhale? Is that?
I did.
Will allow research into marijuana's impact in cancer relief, seizure treatment, and more.
I can tell you that I worked over 5,000 traffic accidents during my time as an officer, and not one had a THC causing an accident. Not one. Now,
with the 2020 election quickly approaching, the legalization of medical and recreational marijuana should be a topic of serious conversation. The marijuana industry has been on the rise since California legalized medical marijuana in 1996, according to PBS. After California's decision, states like Vermont, Illinois, Washington, and Oregon, and many more have followed suit. People in support of decriminalization make arguments that legalizing marijuana will bring in billions of dollars in revenue, create thousands of jobs, and promote consumer safety through government regulation.
We hope that the topic of the legalization of marijuana will be a prominent issue that the 2020 presidential candidates discuss. This issue, if talked about, can bring about policy that will change the nation's agenda and overall aura. Legalizing both medical and recreational marijuana will generate good economic activity and revenue. Take Colorado, for example. According to Marijuana Procon, in Colorado, marijuana generates 3 times more tax revenue than alcohol. In the first fiscal year, the state raised $78 million. In the second fiscal year, they raised $129 million in tax revenue.
If you look at the projected tax revenues in Washington State and in Colorado and also nationally, Colorado $67 million, Washington $560 million, a hypothetical look more nationally $5.8 billion. What do you think?
Not only would legalizing marijuana bring in large amounts of revenue for the government, it also has the potential to supply thousands of people with jobs. According to an article from Investopedia, an RCG Economics and Marijuana Policy Group study on Nevada says that legalizing recreational marijuana could support over 41,000 jobs until 2024 and has the potential to supply $1.7 billion in labor income.
States have to some degree legalized or decriminalized cannabis. In my state of Ohio, medical cannabis is legal. Dispensaries opened earlier this year. The legal cannabis industry is one of the fastest growing in the United States. It employs hundreds of thousands of people.
Not only would legalizing marijuana generate good economic activity and revenue and create thousands of jobs, it would also promote consumer safety through government regulation.
While a lot of the arguments against marijuana are about the assumed health risks that come with smoking it, not a lot of research has been done to support that because it has been classified as a Schedule I drug, and therefore it is very difficult to get a permit to test and research it.
Interestingly, while marijuana use has been an urgent topic of conversation for over a century in this country, the voices of doctors and scientists have been largely quiet. Instead, the debate has been shaped by media portrayals of drug use and reinforced by politicians and advocacy groups that supported them.
You know, one of the funny things about the 100 years or so that this plant has been illegal in the U.S. is that there's nobody able to do any real good research on it. It's forbidden by federal law. So we really don't know, and it's kind of a catch-22 because we can't study it until it's legal. But one of the reasons that it's not legal is because we don't know too much about it.
If legalized and government regulated, doctors and researchers would be able to test for dangerous and intrusive substances like mold, fungus, bacteria, and other drugs that don't belong in the product to ensure the safety of consumers.
So if it's federally legalized, then you can have federal standards in place like you do for food, alcohol, everything else as to purity and quality, and so that would be a huge step in the right direction.
Through the testing and researching of marijuana, the government will be able to understand the safety concerns that come along with the drug and make sure that consumers are getting a pure drug that is as safe for them to use as possible. They will also be able to understand what amounts are going to be healthy and safe for the consumer and regulate the amount that each user is allowed to consume.
If legalized, the government would be able to tax the marijuana industry. This will help achieve the public health goal of dissuading excessive amounts of marijuana use, while discouraging the public of having to finance the government via other less popular and more counterproductive taxes, according to national
Some
affairs.
people might say that marijuana is a gateway drug to more harmful drugs, and that many heroin users have reported to have used marijuana in the past. That is true, but people are still going to use marijuana anyway. Legalizing marijuana will allow the government to be able to regulate it and make sure that the products people are acquiring do not contain substances that could be even more harmful to them.
Government regulation would promote consumer safety. According to marijuana legalization and regulation, marijuana product testing is becoming a standard requirement for legalized marijuana markets. This means consumers are better informed about the marijuana
Not
they
only
use.
will the legalization of marijuana affect the economy, but it will also create thousands of jobs and create a product that will not only be safer, but it will also help people in need. If legalized, our country will be forever changed for the better.